Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for the first episode of Therapy is a Drag. As you can see, I started to get out of drag before I remembered to film the intro. Still got the beat, wigs gone, lashes gone. My apologies. I just wanted to thank you guys and give you guys a little bit of background. This is going to be the first real episode I was able to convince one of my close friends and coworkers to come on and be my first guest. And we filmed the video about 20 minutes ago, and it went really, really well. So I'm really excited to start this project and share two of my favorite passions with you guys. Therapy and drag have been a part of my life for several years at this point. Therapy longer than drag, but you know, I've always wanted to do something more. Wanted to do something more with drag other than dressing up at home just for funsies. So I combined two things that I love so much, and I hope that one, it's informative. Two, that you learn a little bit about therapy, and three, that you have a little bit of fun. The most important part for me is just people being able to come on, share their truths, have a little bit of fun, talk about the horror stories that we have in therapy, and talk about the fun that we have in therapy and the good things that come from therapy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is a really, really incredible episode, and I'm not just saying that because it's the first real one. I'm just really excited to share this project with you guys, and I hope that you guys enjoy. Thank you. We're serving. We're serving. Hi, Micah.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I know I just said your name, but do you want to introduce yourself and say your name, your pronouns, and any other identifiers that you want the world to know about you?
Um, okay. My name is Micah. Um, I use he, him pronouns, and I'm an artist.
Yay!
That's it.
Micah is an amazing artist, and he just got into art school.
I did
What?
just get into art school.
Which art school again?
California College of the Arts in San Francisco.
Very nice. I'm super excited for you, and I'm so glad that I got to write you a letter of recommendation. it it brought me a lot of joy, and I'm so glad that you got in and that you get to pursue your passions and your occupational dreams.
Yeah. Well, if I didn't get in, I would have sued you. So.
Fair enough. I feel like, I deserved it. I deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we dive in, I just want to thank you for agreeing to this. You are the first official Therapy as a Drag guest. How does
Ooh,
how does it feel?
honestly, it's like exciting.
It is. It's an honor to
Everyone's gonna
have you.
remember me.
I know. They're gonna be like, oh my god, it's Micah. But anyway, let's start with a little bit of a disclosure. I know I already told you this, but anything that you say during this interview is going to be on the internet forever. So
Mhm.
don't share anything that you're not comfortable sharing, and don't share anything that you're not comfortable with everyone knowing about you.
Yeah. I was on Tumblr in 2014, so that'll be pretty hard to
Yeah, the my digital footprint's pretty bad already. So
It's fucked. It's fucked. It's fucked.
can it get any worse? Okay, well, so let's start with the questions about therapy. Are you currently in therapy?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. How long have you been with your current therapist?
With my current therapist, it's been at least a few years.
Nice.
Maybe two or three.
Two or three. How did you find this therapist?
I got through my insurance portal.
Nice, nice.
I
I
didn't
feel
get any
like
recommendations or anything.
I feel like that is a pretty good way to find, because I feel like if you go on like Psychology Today or just Google therapists, it'll say that
Hmm.
they take your insurance and then they're just like, "Oh, psych, I used to."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of outdated information, especially on like websites. I remember when I was looking for a therapist or a psychiatrist, I'd be like, "Hey, do you still take this insurance?" And they're like, "Oh, no. I don't know why it still says that." And they
Yeah.
still haven't made any like changes to fix it.
I feel like they honestly, I feel like sometimes when you like contact a therapist or, any other health professional and you're like, "Oh, hey, are you accepting new clients?" And they're like, "No, what made you think that?" And it's like the website the
The
website made
website
me
that says
think
you're
that.
accepting new
Yeah,
clients,
exactly.
they're like, "We're gonna
Uh
put you on a wait list."
yeah, and never call you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 years. 6 years later, we'll call you.
Yeah, "Hey, we finally have a spot open. Do you want to come?" Like, I have graduated college now. Thanks. Like, thanks, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
Do you like your current therapist? I mean, you've been with them for 2 to 3 years. Like, you kind of have to like them, right?
Yeah. No, I adore her. She's really great. Very good at putting up with me making jokes in therapy more than I'm actually doing therapy, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
huge.
I love that. When I was doing like the test run that you watched, I was
Mhm.
talking about how having a therapist that's too serious and a therapist that's too immature is kind of a difficult spot to be
Mhm.
in. So having someone that matches your personality and it is accommodating of the silly little jokes we make. I just
Mhm.
that's what I look for.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
are there any like specific attributes or aspects about your therapist that you particularly appreciate?
Um, she's a great listener for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She doesn't take notes while we're in the session, but she
Oh,
seems to remember stuff
that's
really
good.
well. So either she commits all of that information to memory or she writes it
Yeah.
down after the session. So she's making persistent eye contact.
Good, good.
Um, uh, she's very cautious, like in talking about sensitive subjects, which
Mm-hmm.
is appreciated, but
Yeah.
she also knows that like sometimes if she doesn't ask about things, I'll never fucking bring them up.
Mm-hmm.
Which so sometimes she'll be like, "Do you want to talk about this today?"
Good. I love that. It's something that for me with past therapists they haven't done, and like I get 30 minutes into a session after ranting and then they're like, "Well, I guess we're done for today," instead of like remembering all the fuck shit that I told them at the
Yeah.
beginning. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Wait, I can't we talk about something?" And you never realize it until the session's over anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is a hot question, loaded question. Is there anything about your current therapist that you might not like so much?
Ooh. I don't think so. Not because I'm worried that she'll see this, but in the first couple of sessions I had a really hard time, I think, opening up, and there was one session where she asked if like I ever sought comfort in religion.
Mm,
And for me, that question immediately made me shut down.
yeah.
But um, she, followed it up pretty quickly and recovered really well and was
Mm-hmm.
like, sorry about that.
Yeah.
No judgment.
Yeah.
And, eventually it was just like a small thing that happened rather than like, I need to switch therapists.
Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, faith-based therapy helps a lot of people. A lot of
Hmm.
people it doesn't. So it's good that
Hmm.
you were able to, give her that feedback and then
Hmm.
her immediately make that change, which I think is really, really important to that relationship. So that's good.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any like favorite modalities or interventions that you've done with your current therapist or past therapist?
Mm, right now I'm only doing CBT.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's pretty helpful. Yesterday marks the day where I officially started journaling. Not sure what modality
Ooh,
that is,
that's
but I'm
it's
starting a
pretty
journal.
pretty like I'd say that you could consider it like CBT homework probably.
Yeah. Um, I I've been curious about trying EMDR, but
Mhm.
I haven't really gotten into it, I
For sure.
guess.
Yeah,
Everybody
EMDR.
says it's so good.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's kind of like it kind of scares me because it's just like I don't know about it that much.
Hmm.
But it's definitely something that we talk about in school that's kind of like this elusive like EMDR and
Feels like witchcraft.
brain spotting and stuff. Yeah, it's and I feel like if your therapist offers that, I feel like that would be a cool thing for you to dive into. If
Hmm.
you know, I've never
Don't
done it. I did brain spotting once with a therapist, and it was just kind of difficult for me to get into. But I think that was just me and that therapist uh weren't working out.
Yeah. All right.
Um, this is the burning question. Do you have any
Hmm.
therapy horror stories?
I've been in therapy for 10 years, so if I didn't have any therapy horror stories, I'd be a really privileged person.
For sure.
You're going over there.
Bye,
Uh,
Scout.
Bye, Scout. He started biting my arm because I wasn't paying attention to him.
Of course.
Um,
I do that to you at work.
yeah. Um, Jolene Cuisine, mark it down here, bites me when I don't pay attention to them at work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, technically, that's not me.
Okay.
We don't work together.
Well,
What am I talking about? I'm a drag queen.
yeah, that's all you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, you're so much more than that.
Rude.
That sounded sexist. Um, I don't know. I think probably the okay. I think probably because I knew this question was going to happen because you showed me your like prototype for this
hmm
interview. So I was thinking about it on the drive to work, and I was like, which one is like the best to talk about?
which
Um,
worst story is the best to talk about?
which worst story is gonna mean which worst story is gonna be the funniest is probably what I was thinking.
It
Um,
doesn't have to be funny. It could be emotionally scarring to the viewers.
no. Um, and I think probably my favorite story is like during COVID times, I was trying to get back into therapy, and the only guy who took my insurance was some guy. He, and literally just some guy. He was like a 60, 70-year-old cishet white guy.
hmm
And and first of all, like within the first two sessions, he kept telling me to buy Feeling Good by David S. Burns.
hmm
I'm not sure. It's like a CBT book.
Yeah, David Burns is like I'm gonna fact check myself really quick. I think he's like one of the big names
Got to
in
be careful what you say on
CBT.
the internet.
Yeah, he's one of the big ones in CBT, and I specifically remember watching like a video of him doing CBT.
Yeah. Well, he kept trying to sell me this book, and for the
hmm
first few sessions, I was like, I'm okay, thanks though. And then like by the fourth session, I was like, okay, I'll buy the fucking book. But at the time, in case it wasn't obvious, I'm a transgender man. Um, at the time, one of my coworkers had like confessed their feelings to me basically, but
hmm It wasn't me.
it wasn't Jolene Cuisine or Justin. Um, but no, because I was working in a restaurant. But
hmm
one of my coworkers had confessed their feelings to me, and he was a cisgender heterosexual man.
hmm
And so I said, okay, cool. And then in therapy, I was like, yeah, a cis het guy like was really into me, and that kind of sucked because it doesn't reflect how I view myself, and
hmm
it kind of makes me feel bad about my gender.
hmm
And he said, honestly, you should be flattered. I mean, you could just tell him that he's barking up the wrong tree, but that's cool that someone's attracted to you. And I was like, ooh,
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 that made my
I don't know if this is
stomach
gonna
turn.
work.
Oh no.
Um, and he was like, that's just a big compliment, is what it is. And I was like, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, your therapist at the time was like, "Let me invalidate your feelings and make you feel worse."
Yeah. So. ever since then, it's been pretty important for me to find a therapist who's comfortable with and familiar with queer
Yeah,
people.
100%. Yeah, finding that match is very
Yeah,
important. So
it's
I
super important.
that is a crazy story. Um, wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and
It's okay.
I'm glad that you found your therapist that you have now.
Yeah.
Um, wow, that's crazy. Um,
Yeah, I don't think I told you that one before.
I don't think I knew that. No, that's that's awful. I'm like gonna start crying. That makes
Don't
me so
start crying. That's
sad.
the funny one.
I know, but it's funny. It's funny. We can laugh about it, but it's still really sad. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that being said, if there's one thing that you could tell this audience about therapy, maybe someone's on the fence about trying to seek help. Um, like, what's one thing that you would tell them that's a really, doesn't have to be super positive, but that's a positive thing about therapy?
Um, the good thing about therapy is that there are plenty of therapists out there that offer all kinds of treatments. So
Mm-hmm.
you're literally invited to shop around.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to remind people that like you only see your therapist like once a week or like twice a week or maybe once a month. So it's still really important to try and build up your community and support system
Mm-hmm.
while you're seeking therapy. Does
Mm-hmm.
that sound stupid?
No, I love that.
Um, because like there are a lot of people who love and care about you and want you to be safe. And while a therapist can help you tremendously, there are also people in your life who want to help you and want to be
Mm-hmm.
there for you, you know?
I love that. I'm gonna start crying now. That was
What?
beautiful. I love that. That's so awesome. Yeah, I really I that resonates with me a lot, and I think that's so true. Is that um, you can find a therapist that matches you, however you come to therapy, and once you
Mhm.
find that person, yeah, like you said, you only see them once, maybe twice a week, or once a month, depending. So having a community, and yeah, there are people that care about you. You gotta look at the camera.
Yeah.
People care about you. Um,
I've just been
people.
looking at you the whole time. I've been mesmerized.
Thank you, thank you. There is a little bit of a nightmare with I put some eyeshadow on my nose without meaning to, and Paige had to do some surgery.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I totally agree. I think that um, I wouldn't call it complacency, but sometimes people hold everything in for a week
hmm
before they get to see their therapist, and then they kind of just go in. When I say people, I mean me.
Yeah.
Where I just hold it in, and then just for 30 to 45 minutes I'm just dumping everything that's happened, and I
hmm
feel like I don't really get that much out of therapy at that point because I have 5 minutes left to talk about the things
Yeah.
that are actually going on. But that is such good advice, and I totally agree. um
I'm here for you.
I love you, Micah. Is there anything else you want to say? Do you have any questions for me? Anything?
Um,
You don't have to
I
have
don't
any
know.
questions.
I'm trying
It's
to think of a
fine.
fun question.
Okay.
Who's your designer?
My design. Okay. Well, so originally I was gonna wear like this crop top with long
Yeah.
sleeves that has lips on it, and I didn't end up finding that. So now I'm just wearing a dress and something I got on Depop. But it's
It's
it was a
sparkly.
yeah, it was a dress and a coat, and I could only find the coat. So now I'm wearing a Goodwill dress and the coat,
I'm
and
sad that
then
you can't see the sparkles very well on the camera.
it's kind of showing up,
Yeah.
but the RuPaul confessional background is kind of hiding it. But yeah, my designer is Goodwill, Depop,
hmm
Paige's Closet, and the wig is Evangeline's.
Excellent.
Well, Micah, I can't thank you enough for being my first guest. I
Yay.
had such a fun time talking to you, and I really appreciate you sharing your experiences, your truths, and being honest. And yeah.
Bye. I'm gonna go dye my
Bye.
hair. It looks bad.
Yeah, it looks good. All right. Thank you, Micah. I love you.
Thank you. Bye.